Hey, bud.
Hey people.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, I'm ready to start getting this site built out. This is exciting. So,
Yeah.
first thing we need to do is just do some of the basics on the back end in the admin panel. So, we're currently logged into the site in the admin area, and we're at the appearance themes. But we need to first go down to settings and general. Okay. This is the first step, and let's take a look at it. The site title, Integrity Resources, is fine. The tagline shows Integrity Resources. Let's change that to the one we've selected, which is Follow Us to Internet Success. All right, and let's go ahead and leave the WordPress URL as it is and the site address as URL as it is. On the email address, let's leave it as it currently is. We're going to go in just a minute and set up our emails for us on Integrity Resources. So we'll change that, and then once we set up our emails, we'll leave the membership thing. Anyone can register unchecked because we're not putting a membership program in place at this point. Okay, new user default role is subscriber. Now you and I are both admins, but anybody else that comes to the site that will be a subscriber. So we'll leave that as is. On the time zone, we're currently in UTC -6, which is a Central Time Zone daylight savings time. So let's go ahead and reset the time zone. And I actually like to use the city, and that way it'll keep it current for us, and it's easier for me when I go back in there.
Yeah.
So since Dallas isn't listed on there, and that's a major city near us, but they're unfortunately not listed in this long list, let's pick Chicago since it's in the same time zone that we are. Okay. The date format, I like that in the way it is. And then on time format, we can actually pick with lowercase PM or uppercase on the.
We can just do uppercase.
All right. Week starts on Monday. That's good. Let's just use that. Okay, save changes. Okay, let's just go right down the list. So let's go ahead and look at settings, writing. Okay, on this page, if we had our blog already set up, we could actually change the post category where right now it's uncategorized. We should set that to a default post category. At this point, we haven't set up our blog post yet, so we don't have those categories in place. We'll come back and change that, and basically that just means every time we write a blog post, it'll default to a category we select. Now you can always change that in the actual blog post, but rather than have it go to uncategorized, I'd prefer it to go to a category just in case we happen to forget.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think everything else on that page, you want to scroll down, we'll look at it. I think everything else is pretty much as it should be, so let's go ahead and save those. Okay, let's just go down to the next one, reading. Okay, there are several things we're going to want to set up on this page. The first thing is, depending on the type of theme that you're going to use, you might want to have your latest post be selected for the front page. And basically, if you were just doing a blog template, then you would probably want to use your latest blog post on your website. But in this case, we're going to actually use a static page. We're going to talk a little bit about this further on, but the static page we're going to be using for our front page is home. That's correct. But on our post page, we're actually going to select the blog page. So you'll notice that we have a number of choices, but in this case, we're just going to go ahead and select blog at this point. We don't want blog full width.
Does that just take up the whole page? Okay.
Yeah, we do want a sidebar. Okay, the blog pages show at most 10 posts, and then it would, so in other words, we could have 10 posts to a page, and then it would go to the next page.
We can just change that.
So we can change that at some point as well. And then for each article, we're talking about syndicated feeds, we'll talk about that later. We want the full text or summary. Let's leave it at full text for now. So one other thing we do want to check off at this point is, we're really not ready for the search engines to start indexing our site.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, the search engines, Google's going to start pinging our site and looking at the pages. And at this particular point, we're building the site out. So we're not quite ready for Google to come over and start indexing these pages and putting them in up on Google, just in case somebody searched for a page
okay,
and we happen to show up. We're kind of under construction.
Okay.
So
I got you.
So right now, what we want to do is go ahead and check the box that says discourage the search engines from indexing this site. Now, once we start building a little bit more on the back end of the site, and we start putting a little bit more blog content out there, then we'll definitely come back and uncheck that, because we want Google to know we're building this site. We want them to follow us in the progression of building the site so that they can see we're actually working on the site. It's going from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, so they see it as a legitimate site, not just something that just all of a sudden appeared. They like to kind of see this progression. At least that's my opinion. And then the other thing is, right now we have a lot of content that we just preloaded on the site. It came with the theme. So we've got some dummy posts out there on the site. We have some dummy pages on the site.
Okay. Yeah,
and so we don't want
sense.
Google to go out and index those dummy post pages and then get confused about what our site's all about, because it just has a bunch of gibberish on some of those pages. So first thing we need to do is get the site kind of set up. We'll go back in and delete some of those dummy posts, and we'll also delete some of those pages that we're not going to be using, and then we'll tell Google, okay, we're ready for you to come see some of the content we got. Okay?
Yep.